From iRacing's Homestead-Miami Speedway, I'm Rick James. You're watching the ENEA off-season exhibition, getting ready for 135 laps of action. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in, and I hope you're ready for a lot of fun. Money on the line, bragging rights in the off-season. Think of it as kind of like an all-star race for ENEA. Lockhart in the chat says, Rick James broadcasting an ENE race again. Am I in heaven? No, this is just real life. That's how good this is. Good to be working with proper villains once again. Drew Jua and Max Williams have control of the field. Green flag is out. Let's go racing! Into the first corner, Drew Jua has control of the field as everybody sails down through the first couple of corners. Max Williams in the number 13 finds himself to the inside of Connor Cordes in the number 8 car, that Busch Chevrolet, sitting in the bronze medal position, already up 3 places from where he started. Shout out to Ryan Lindemann, also scoring the same kind of ground. That number 5-7 up 3 places from where he started, 3 wide off that second corner, and in the 2 car behind them all, you've got Derek Sherman in the Monster Energy Chevrolet Camaro. Sherman in the 6th spot, just ahead of Matthew Heel, who's backing the track up just a bit. Ross Phillips in the number 1 on the top side, watching the rest of his competitors careening down that back straight into that palm tree decorated 3rd corner. And the number 3 of Larry Hensley Jr. in the Good Wrench Service Camaro rounds out the top 10 to his inside. The incorrectly numbered 31 of Ryan Panone, scored as the 30 on the left-hand side of your screen, sits 11th at the moment. Donnie Minute Jr. in the 14th position. He's up 5 places from where he started. Minute also incorrectly scored in that number 12 Menards Ford, being scored as the 00, and up ahead of him, Elridge George in the number 40 Mobile One Dodge Charger. How do you like those decals on the front of that car? The Bahamian from Nassau in tropical Bahamas in lucky number 13th position. Last time across the line with a 33-34, Brandon Bowers ran the fastest lap. This time, it's Jimmy Fillers who goes purple in the Tethered Nation Ford. He's up 4 spots since the green flag flew. More than 15 drivers running a personal best on that previous lap. And if you've just tuned in, you haven't missed much, but the cars are still getting to grips. Fatal's in the chat. He says, "What's up, Rick?" Shout out to my Canadian fans, including one Tyler Tyone. How you doing, buddy? Good to hear from you. Tyler Tyone racing in the Trucks Series that you'll see Monday night. Jimmy Fillers gets right up to the Jumpman logo on Derek Sherman's number 2, but he holds it together. Fillers mercifully lets off, but we've got a yellow flag. Crash behind us, possibly. Caution is out on the 6th lap of competition. Connor Cordes ran the fastest lap that time around, 33.22 seconds. Everybody's so far so good. Can't see where anyone's picked up damage. Jua in the 18. Running in second. No, nothing to speak of there, so we'll see if we can reload these overlays and get a little bit of help here. Timmy Moore leading the race. Connor Cordes in that 2nd position, and Brandon Bowers sitting in 3rd. The number 77 Chick-fil-A Ford in the bronze medal position. Fatal in the chat says, "Love Homestead." Glad to hear you're doing good. Let's see which one of these drivers might take this advantage to come down pit road. Still only 7 laps into this race. We're going to see if we can fix a little bit of these timing and scoring issues. Give us just a moment here. That's the 31 of Timmy Moore all the way down on the apron. I don't suppose there's any problem with the 31. The seasoned veteran of not only NASCAR Heat, but now the ENEA series, the eNASCAR Elite Association, as it were, has control of the field. Fans at home, we're going to go nowhere. We're going to take a quick 30-second break, and we'll be back for more racing action from iRacing's Homestead. Still under caution from Homestead-Miami, or iRacing's Homestead-Miami Speedway, as it were. Timmy Moore with control of the field thus far. Looking to get a word with Tim, but he looks like he's unavailable. Let's see if we can go back. Our second place driver, Connor Cordes, at the moment, holding that silver medal spot. Let's see if we can talk to him. Connie, Rick James up top. Can you hear me?
I got you, Rick.
You're sitting second right now early in this race. We're not even 10 laps through. What have you learned throughout this practice session? It's been a few weeks since you all last raced, and with money on the line, it seems like this is a great way to keep the appetites whet during the off-season.
Yeah, it's a great way to bring our regular guys back, and also we have a few new guys running in here. It's just kind of a small little recruiting opportunity we're trying to take advantage of, and obviously it's great to have you back here tonight, Rick. The car feels pretty good here in these first 6 laps. Hopefully we can continue the rest of the race here.
It's such a pleasure to be back, Casey. I mean, we worked together for 2 very strong years on the Xbox side, and it does my heart good to see leagues that I came up with, like Thursday Night Thunder, ENEA, a couple of leagues like that made the transition to iRacing and have stuck in the transition to iRacing. Coming up into this second season of PC gaming for ENEA, what's new? What can fans expect in these coming weeks?
First off, just better racing. That was the goal. You know, season 1 was kind of a guinea pig season, but we got a whole website fired up now. We got sponsors and partners. We're trying to, do cool things with these money races too. So just if anybody's interested, come join up anytime. Just figure out a way to get a hold of us. There's a link on our website where you can do so, and we'll be happy to have anybody.
ENEARacing.com or at ENEA Racing on Twitter. Connie, half a lap to green, buddy. What's the strategy to get around Timmy Moore?
Honestly, no rush to get around him. I'm kind of just wait for an opportunity. But as you saw with Drew, we got to make sure we're keeping under pace speed here, not getting a black flag on the restart. That's going to be really important.
Shiny side up, and hopefully you can find yourself in victory lane at the end, Connie.
Appreciate you.
We're going to let Cordes get back to work. He's on the outside of Tim Moore coming to the green flag. 10 laps about to be completed under the setting sun at Homestead-Miami. It's a Chevrolet front row as the pace truck peels off. Drivers wait for that signal and for the flag to wave. Let's go racing. High out of that fourth corner, you see the 51 of Matt Heel trying to hold on for dear life. He's behind the 5-7 of Ryan Lindemann coming down this front straight. Everybody passing each other left and right. It looks like Elridge George has come down pit lane for repairs. The number 40 Mobile 1 Dodge from Nassau getting some early services. Ryan Pannone in the misnumbered 31 sits just ahead of Larry Hensley Jr. He's got company to the inside. That's Ryan Wilson in the PFC Shares Chevrolet, trying to sneak all the way to the low side, but he's got the erroneously numbered Pannone right in his way. 30 on the scoreboard, 31 on the side of the race car, and ahead of Pannone, the 5-1 of Matt Heel, trying to stay ahead of all of this. Travis DeLeon in the 15 Pinder Construction Camry, now riding behind Drew Jua, who's down 13 places from where he started. The number 18 Cessna Toyota has some work to do. Jua has plenty of race to get it done. 33-33 last time around. Timmy Moore has great control of the field with Bowers sitting in that second position. New fastest lap. Jimmy Fillers in the number 94 hits a 33.14 second circuit. He's gone purple. Fastest lap of the race. Caution is out for the second time today. The 3 has gone around. That's Larry Hensley Jr., Travis Wilson, Michael McElroy, Matt Heel, all involved in that caution out of the second corner. Let's see what happened. Starts with the 5-1 of Heel. Looks like he made some contact with another Toyota. Let's have a look. Possibly. That looks like the number 1 car of Ross Phillips. That might have lost some sort of control. See if we can have a look with Ross Phillips. This is on the outside of turn 1. 3 wide, Heel just losing control of his race car, gets right into Phillips, who's going to escape all of this. As they crash behind him, let's have a look once again, but this time from the cockpit of Matt Heel. And that's Heel getting run into, but let's see if we can find an earlier view with Matt Heel. On board with Larry Hensley. How about Mike McElroy? One more look with McElroy almost making it through. One more look because there's a couple of drivers that just squeaked through all of this. Let's have another look at these drivers when the yellow flag came out, because a couple guys made it through so sweetly. Looks like the 36 as well, but this may be another misnumbered car. Can't quite find him. Not Williams. Williams in the 13 is labeled properly. Let's have a look. That is Parker Malone, the correctly numbered Parker Malone. Have a look here with the 3-6. Just squeezes through, barely moves an inch. Let's ride on board with the 36 of Parker Malone. Drives through the smoke and does the right thing. That move there earns Parker Malone his very own Cole Trickle move of the race.
Ice cream!
Ice cream indeed, Cole. Ice cream, indeed. So Parker Malone will restart in the 18th position. Tim Moore still with control of the field. Brandon Bowers in that second spot. In the double 7, Bowers, the defending champion. No, I'm sorry. The winningest driver in ENEA. Bowers also not available for chat. So let's go one more. Let's talk to James Fillers in the 94. And Fillers also unavailable. And a blink there. We're going green next time around. Fillers will be restarting in that 4th position. Bahamian Elridge George will be restarting in the 19th position. Travis Wilson finds himself 1 lap off the pace in that number 4, but the lucky dog will apply if another yellow flag comes out. Timmy Moore has led every lap of the 18 we've run thus far. Bowers to his outside in that 7-7. Connor Cordes will restart in 3rd. Max Williams in the 13 will be restarting in 5th. The 18 of Drew Jua on the inside of that 5th row. Don Minute Jr., number 12 on his car, 00 on the scoreboard. Don't get confused there. He'll be starting to the inside of Chris Pinder in that gold 17. Moore with control of the field as we come back to green, waiting for that signal. Let's go racing again. So far, so good. First lap after green. It's Moore, Bowers, Cordes, your top 3. Fillers in 4th. Derek Sherman rounds out that top 5. Chris Pinder rounding out the top 15. Pinder in the 1.7s on the outside of Parker Malone in the 3.6. Malone comes up off the white line, has to check up to avoid contact with Pinder. Good move by Parker, but they're still 2 and 3 wide out of that 4th corner. The Hy-Vee machine, John Dolly in the correctly numbered 74 Chevrolet, sits in the 11th position trying to crack the top 10. Behind him, 3 wide, Ross Phillips in the middle. Pinder on the outside, Parker Malone still 3 wide. He's in the vacuum hole in the middle. Contact behind them. Michael McElroy in the 83 makes a little bit of contact with the 4 of Travis Wilson, who's just trying to survive in this. 1 lap off the mark. Wilson in that number 4, just looking to make it to the next caution. 7 drivers last time around put in their personal best. This time, just Tim Moore and Brandon Bowers putting in their green laps, their personal bests in 22 laps of competition. Pinder in the 17. Watching Ross Phillips and Parker Malone battle side by side out of that 4th corner. Donald Minute Jr. in the number 12. Ryan Blaney's scheme still holding off the 7-4. It's a 1-second gap between him and Ryan Lindemann into the 1st corner. Max Williams sits just ahead out of the misnumbered Ryan Pannone in that 31 Chevrolet. Drew Jua in the 18 is the highest ranked Toyota thus far. He's coming up behind Derek Sherman into that 3rd corner. Sherman behind Fillers, who's filling in the gap in that 4th position while Timmy Moore continues to lead the field. Pinder top side. He's got Matt Heel up the bottom. Almost a little bit of contact between the wall and the 74 car. Further on back, Travis DeLeon in the 15 car. sitting just in the middle. Here comes Elrich George behind him. The 19th placed Bahamian also finds himself trying to make up some time. It's a long back straight and a lot of battle into the corner. Watch the side-by-side melee here. Cars trying to stay off each other. Contact from the 74 of Johnny Dolly. He scraped the outside retaining wall. Ross Phillips trying not to get involved in his mess, while the number 3 of Larry Hensley Jr. in the number 3. A very iconic number 3, isn't it? No mistaking that car for anything else. He's in the 17th position. He's down 7 places from where he started. But on the flip side, we've got our 2 hardest chargers. Parker Malone in the 36, Donald Minute Jr. They're up 11 places from where they started. Malone pitting on the 15th lap of competition, so he's got some of the freshest tires around. Matt Heel, Larry Hensley, Mike McElroy, all these drivers also pitted. Travis Wilson came down. Now, again, some of them had to come down because of damage, but again, they've got the freshest tires through the field. Of those drivers that came down for service, Malone sitting in 10th, now trying to work on Ryan Lindemann for that 9th position. Let's ride in the cockpit with Parker Malone as he tries to go into those first fast 9 places. Two seconds ahead of the rest of the while Bowers is behind him in that second spot. The 77 car, 1 and some change away from the top spot, while James Fillers now looks to take over third. The 94 works on the inside of Connor Cordes in the 8. 30 laps underway while Tim Moore continues to run away with the top spot. Parker Malone now up 11 places from where he started. He's on the inside of Derek Sherman, and Malone looks like he's going to bridge the gap between the top 5 and the rest of the field over the last 5 laps. There you can see Drew Jua has been consistently slower. The 2-car of Derek Sherman says hi to the fans in turn number 4. He just scraped the wall big time out of the 4th corner. And let's check to see if he's got any bad scrapes or damages on the right-hand side of that car. Well, it's a black car, so it's going to be tough to see any scrapes. But he's still holding strong in that 8th position. McElroy and Pinder side by side into turn number 3. Almost looks like Dave Blaney's Amoco car, that 83 Ford. Pinder in the 15th position. He's gained 6 places since he started this race. Further on back, the battles are still strong. No reason these drivers shouldn't be battling. Elrich George to the inside of John Dolly in the 74. George down 7 places since the green flag flew, but the Bahamian on the quest to get back up to the top. Ryan Pannone in that 31 car, giving way to the number 3 of Larry Hensley, and Hensley taking McElroy with him. Pannone on a downturn as here comes Chris Pinder to gain a 7th place. Connor Cordes also hanging tough. But now about to be moved, or will he move of his own volition? The 18 of Drew Jua looks to go to the inside. Almost a big crash as Parker Malone was on the top side of that 8 car. The 8 of Cordes has to lift off that throttle, and he will give way to the 18 of Drew Jua. Matt Heel, 1.8 seconds off the mark of Cordes. Just trying to draft with that number 4 up ahead. That's Travis Wilson running in that 20th position. He is the first car 1 lap down. So if the caution flag does come out, Travis will have that lucky dog given to him, and he'll be put back on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap from, I was going to say nearby Tampa, but Tampa's probably like 6 hours away from Homestead anyway. Ryan Lindemann is down 11 places from where he started, and it's certainly going to be a long climb back for the number 57, but we have just 101 laps remaining. Plenty of time and a lot to happen to any of these drivers. Jimmy Fillers in the 94, up 8 places from where he started, but Parker Malone has been driving his heart out. That 36, the smooth-handed pilot of the Valvoline Chevrolet Camaro, clears Fillers around the outside. Malone doing things the hard way. He's up to 3rd. He's gained 15 places from where he started. Malone getting the job done early on. Ross Phillips in the number 1, trying to catch up to the number 2 of Derek Sherman, and then it's the number 12 of Don Minute Jr. The Ryan Blaney machine making contact and adding a couple more stripes to that safer barrier in turn number 1. Minute has not pitted, and the drivers that did pit between laps 15 and 16 starting to show a little bit more strength as the tires wear on. Tonight's race facts predicting the drivers can go between 55 to 65 laps on 1 tank of fuel, and it looks like we already have a taker. Max Williams diving down in the number 13. Is something wrong with that YJ Esports machine? Let's have a look. Or did he just lose control? No, that was scheduled right ahead of the number 2 car as well. Not sure what's going on with Williams. Tim Moore continues to lead, but his lead has been dashed by Brandon Bowers in the 77. He's within 0.7 of a second on his way to catch that leader. Parker Malone, 1.7 seconds and counting for the driver of the 36 over the last 5 laps. There you see Malone kind of up and down with the times. If we look at Brandon Bowers to Timmy J. Moore, over the last 2 laps, Bowers has been catching the leader slowly, starting to reel him in. Let's sit shotgun with the 7 as he makes a challenge for first. That looked like Moore making contact with the outside wall. Here comes Bowers trying to do it on the outside. The Chick-fil-A Ford's going to have to find a more clever way to get around this well-experienced driver on the inside. That's Lindemann in the 5-7. He's on the cusp of going a 2nd lap down. Brandon Richards still in the pits. Tim Moore in the 31. Has Bowers behind him coming up out of that 4th corner. Bowers now has the draft of Moore. Parker Malone still 1.7 seconds behind them. Matt Heel, 0.8 of a second behind Drew Jua, who's all over the back end of James Fillers through turn 1. Jua in the Beechcraft 18 machine. Down 3 places from where he started, but he looks like he's on the bounce back. Meanwhile, Derek Sherman, who's that in the wall? One driver looked like he got in the wall there. Not sure if that was Chris Pinder. in that 17. Pinder trying to make the move on the 15. Travis De Leon. Don Minute Jr. looks like he's trying to come down pit road. Everybody trying to get around him. The 12 car is in. He now pitting on lap 42. Tim Moore with a mirror full of Brandon Bowers. And here comes Parker Malone. Still 1.7 seconds behind them. Malone, is he saving his stuff? Is Bowers just trying to turn the heat up on Moore? Are there any intentions to pass? Bowers has caught him, but has not gotten around him. One certainly harder than the other, and Tim Moore playing good defense in that middle line, but now he goes up the racetrack, allowing some moonlight to the 77. Drag race down the back straight for first place. Advantage Moore. There's Bowers now to the inside. Will he stick it into turn number 1? The Chick-fil-A Ford tries to take a big bite in the challenge for first place, while the Leaf Filter 31 won't be blown away that easily. Up out of the second corner, Moore looking to use the momentum to have the advantage into 3. Moore on the outside looking to hold on with Bowers in the double 7. How are the tires on these two leaders' cars? There's Moore going high up, scraping the wall outside of turn number 4. New leader Brandon Bowers, and Timmy Moore could be in trouble if he's damaged that 31. Slow into the first corner, we stay green. Ross Phillips is on his way in. Larry Hensley getting that number 3 good wrench machine repaired and back out in racing shape. 0.9 of a second, the gap between Bowers and Moore. Parker Malone smells blood in the water. Fillers coming up behind Malone. No, that's not Fillers. I'm sorry. That's the 13 car. Max Williams, he last pitted on lap 36. Last time around, Williams pops in 33.44 on the board. The 36 of Parker Malone, 35.29, has the 36 run out of steam as Connor Cordes gets around him. The number 8 car, 33.47 seconds that last time around. Malone, again, 35.29. The tires really starting to show that life. Moore falling off the pace as Cordes moves to his inside. And Malone, 0.9 of a second now behind the 31. Eleven cars left on the lead lap. Bahamian Elrich George, the last of those 11. He speeds down the front straight. To his inside goes the number 1 car of Ross Phillips, who's 1 lap down. Bowers in the double 7, having Connor Cordes invade the space to his left-hand side. The double 7 wisely lets the faster Missouri pilot smooth on by. 33.71 seconds last time around for Cordes. 34.99. Connor Cordes 1.2 seconds faster on the tires he put on his car on lap 37, and perhaps tires showing to be more important than fuel mileage. Once again, the green flag pit distance expected to be 55 to 65 laps, but tires coming in to be much more important. Drew Jua speeds into pit road. Was he going faster than 50 miles an hour? We'll have to find out if he's held the Woodstock native. Now calmly coming into his pit stall, Brandon Bowers still the race leader. Tim Moore 2 seconds behind. Possible damage on the 31 as Parker Malone starts to catch up. Jua in his stall. Will they hold him? Big blink by the 18. Hopefully it's not internet issues for him. He's back on that racing surface. No speeding penalty for Jua. He's down. He's away on lap 50. 85 laps to go next time by. Bowers still with a 2.3 second lead on Moore, whose advantage is dwindling to Parker Malone. Further on back, the number 2 monster machine of Derek Sherman sits 0.3 of a second behind Chris Pinder in the 17. On the back straight, the number 35 of Matt Tatum looking to make some room up the inside, while Ryan Lindemann now comes into these drivers' view. Lindemann, 1 lap off the pace. Our first DNF is going to be Brandon Richard in the 19. Sorry to fans of the 19 car. Travis Wilson, also a DNF as well. The number 4 has decided to throw in the towel and call it quits. Lindemann to the inside in that 5-7 car. De Leon in the 15 has pitted. Bowers in the 77 has given up the lead. Tim Moore, new leader once again. Parker Malone has decided to come down pit lane. Last time around, Timmy Moore, 35.31 seconds. Matt Heel, 35.05 seconds. Heel has pitted. Moore has not. And to be one of the drivers that most recently pitted, Max Williams pitted on lap 36. His last time, 33.88 seconds, this time through. The 13, 35.83. Tim Moore, 35.31. A big difference. James Fillers in the 46, last time around, 33.64 seconds. Filler, he's got the freshest tires on the field. Moore, 35.14. There goes Fillers to the inside, and he's going to make light work of race leader Tim Moore. Here comes Bowers in the 7-7. This is massive. Moore is going to have a big disadvantage when he comes out, and he's going to have to push extremely hard. Bowers in 10th unlaps himself, and at this point, Tim Moore is gambling on a caution. Matt Heel, 4.3 seconds behind him. Matt McElroy, they have pitted. Only Tim Moore and Derek Sherman have still not come down pit road. It looks like they're going to stretch it all the way to the end, and they've now reached the green flag pit window of 55 laps on 1 tank of fuel. If you've just recently tuned in, I'm Rick James. You're watching ENEA's off-season exhibition from iRacing's Homestead-Miami Speedway. Tim Moore has a 4.5 second gap back to Matt Heel. On closer terms, Connor Cordes now catching up to Elrich George. 26 laps of difference between their tires. And the Bahamian will watch the Missouri pilot sail on by. Derek Sherman has decided to come down pit road. Tim Moore is in. The leader has relented. And after Sherman comes in, Moore will follow suit. That's going to make Matt Heel your race leader. He's got a 6-second gap between himself and Mike McElroy. Both of these drivers pitting on lap 16 and lap 15, respectively. McElroy in that 83 was involved in one of those first 2 cautions. McElroy so far up 14 places from where he started. Next driver, Connor Cordes, 10 seconds behind McElroy. But Cordes, he has tires that are 22 laps more fresh than McElroy. Heel is in. Matt Heel has decided it's now his turn to come down into the pits. Mike McElroy will take the lead away. New leader in that 83. Over the last 5 laps, Connor Cordes has been at least 1.3 seconds quicker than McElroy. At this rate, the math tells you Cordes will catch McElroy in about lap 63, if my math is right, which it never is. Lockhart in the chat says, "Come on, Con Man." That's Tanner Lockhart, cheering for his man. It used to be called ENEA Con Man back on the Xbox days, but now Connor Cordes chasing down McElroy. Goes by Connor Cordes, doesn't he? I was trying to think of something else to say. Anyway, Parker Malone up 9 places from where he started. He pitted on lap 51, so Malone has some of the most fresh Goodyear Eagles out on this racetrack. Drew Jewett to his inside, trying to hold off Malone, who dives to the inside, and he timed that perfectly. Jewett trying to get everything he can out of Parker Malone's right-hand side, but just not enough to hold off that 36. Jewett now holds off and watches the 36 move further on through the field. Malone up to the 8th position thus far, and these long green flag runs will certainly benefit Malone. "76 laps to go next time by. Elrich George to the inside of Malone. George slow and will let the 18 of Jua by. Brandon Bowers now to the inside of Max Williams. This the move for third. Matt Heel just went green. His personal best, 33.35 seconds for the Rowdy Energy Camry. Heel's in 14th, down 9 places from where he started, but about to overtake Jonathan Dolly in quite an easy hurry. The number 74 slow into the first corner. The number 5-1 of Heel will work to his inside and swiftly take the 13th position. 33.21. Heel just ran another fastest lap. It looks like he's finally gotten into his groove. Timmy Moore last pitted on lap 55. He's got the freshest tires in the field. Look at this jumble here. The number 1 car behind that 31, almost 4 wide as the 40 of Elrich George scrapes that outside wall. Larry Hensley Jr. in the 3 gives up the position to Tim Moore, who is now on a tear. Moore gets around Ross Phillips to crack the top 9. He's 3 seconds behind the ill-numbered Ryan Pannone, and he's trying to scrape the 31 off the side of that car, trying to make it look more like a 30 as he scored. But I think someone should tell Ryan it doesn't necessarily work that way. Drew Jua is the next car up through the field. Jua sits in 7th, half a second behind Parker Malone. Jua 1.2 seconds behind Max Williams. He's got tires that are 15 laps more fresh than the 13. Williams, all he can do is watch the 36 creep closer. Cue the Jaws music. Ross Phillips side by side with Pannone. This is the battle for the 9th position. Phillips dives to the inside and just gets the spot away from Pannone. Larry Hensley Jr. coming up behind that 30 car. Just can't quite pull off the move. Connor Cordes now your new leader. He takes the lead from Michael McElroy. McElroy again has not pitted since lap 15. He's going to try and stretch his tires and fuel all the way to the end. Driver's going to get a total of 65 laps out of one green flag pit window, but the tires will wear severely. Before then, they're going to need to find themselves a bit more relief before that mark comes. Bowers in the double 7. Finds himself only 0.6 of a second behind Connor Cordes. 13 laps of wear between the double 7 and the 8. Bowers looking to make a quick move on the 8 of Cordes, but will he be able to pull it off headed into 3? The answer is no. James Fillers in third. He's got a 7/10 of a second advantage over Michael McElroy, and it's now getting wider. McElroy really pushing those tires as hard as he can, but it's going to end up costing him in the long run. Is he gambling on a yellow? And if the caution does wave, the gamble will have paid off for that 83. Ryan Panone in the pits, sliding his way across that line, coming across at 53 miles an hour. Panone's going to have to be careful not to incur a penalty. Elrich George also in the pits. Parker Malone gets around McElroy. That's Malone up to the 4th position. Derek Sherman, John Daly side by side into turn 1. Sherman will run away with that position. Ross Phillips and Matt Heel swapping spots, but that's because Phillips is on his way in, and welcome the second wave of green flag pit stops. Parker Malone in the 36, running away with that 4th position and only 2.3 seconds behind James Fillers over the last 5 laps. Malone has been tearing away at that lead. Malone pitting on lap 51. Quick math tells you he's going to be pitting somewhere around lap 102. But of course, strategies change, and with only 35 laps remaining, Malone may want to get his second pit stop out of the way early, as the long run benefits the pilot of the 36. Timmy Moore down to the 6th position. He pitted on lap 55. He's only 14 laps into this run. Will Moore stretch it all the way and come down on lap 110? That only leaves him 25 laps to make the run back up from where he fell through the pits. Connor Cordes coming down pit road. That's going to put Parker Malone in the 3rd position. And the 8 car also being joined by Ryan Lindemann in the 57. If you just started watching, this guy right here, Parker Malone, has been tearing the field apart, yet to reach the top spot. However, James Fillers pitted only 6 laps ahead of him. Brandon Bowers pitted on lap 50, and it's a 5-second gap between Bowers and Malone, so we'll have to see just where these two sit when it's their time to pit, but expect them between 20 and 30 laps from now. Phillips in the 1, he pitted on lap 37, and he is quickly catching up to Matt Tatum, who tries to throw a block, but the number 3-5 Camry just can't hold off the number 1 machine, and the Hesburgh Camry moves into the 15th position. Further up ahead, Malone getting around Jua. Jua, is he making his way around Timmy Moore, or is it the other way around? Moore in that 5th position. Now on the back bumper of that number 18 car. This is the battle for 4th. That's the 7-4 of John Daly, who's on the inside. He's going to come down pit road for his second green flag stop. Quickly approaching 60 laps to go. Brandon Bowers has a 5-second gap over James Fillers. And there you see Fillers has just been slower by at least 0.3 of a second. You'd expect him to be just a tad quicker, but nevertheless, Bowers having an excellent run tonight. Tim Moore now to the inside of Parker Malone, or is it Moore who's losing the spot to Malone? Top side, Parker Malone following in the draft of that 31 as the number 8 car. Connor Cordes is on the inside. Connie finds himself in the 11th spot, 1 lap off the pace, chasing down this driver, Chris Pinder, in the number 17 Toyota. He's gained 11 positions since the flag flew 74 laps ago. Larry Hensley Jr. has decided it's his turn to come down pit road. Pinder, the first car, 1 lap down, so if the caution comes out, it's Pinder that gets the lucky dog, but there's his rival in that 8 car, Connor Cordes. Now filling in the 94's mirror. Fillers moves to the top side, and he allows Cordes all the room to chase down Pinder. Timmy Moore in that third position. There you see over the last 5 laps, Moore's been quicker than Fillers. There's the shadow of the 31 just coming in, and that is your battle for that second position. Tim Moore right on the rear bumper of Fillers. And how long and how hard will Moore work to get around the 94 tethered Mustang? Moore on the inside. Looks like he could make light work of this, and he does. Timmy Moore clears Jimmy Fillers for that second position. And now welcome Parker Malone into the fray. Connor Cordes, the first car 1 lap down. He is 0.4 of a second ahead of Max Williams. Chris Pinder behind him, equidistant to the 13. And drivers starting to find their groove 77 laps into this race. Still waiting for a certain few leaders to come down pit road, but we've got about another 25 laps before we can expect them on the way in. The 35 car, Matt Tatum, makes his way to the inside of James Fillers. Tatum last pitting on lap 71. Fillers on lap 46. Look at the 36 car, Parker Malone, almost losing everything. All that hard work that he has been grinding so hard for almost goes up in smoke as the 36 car loses control of his machine. That could have been disastrous. Have another look. Malone on the low side, losing all sorts of control in the Valvoline Chevrolet. Still in the 5th position, 13 places from where he started, but Malone needs to be a bit more cautious. Perhaps that car's just a bit too loose. Drew Jua in the 2nd position has not been able to run away from James Fillers in that number 94. How long will it take for the 94 to get around the rest of the competition? Parker Malone sitting in that number 36, again, almost losing control of that race car. It's been a fine race for him so far. A couple of troubles, but he's made it okay. And it looks like he's going to go the distance without much more conflict if he can just focus and keep that stream in one piece. The number 1 car up ahead. That's Ross Phillips in the 13th position. 1 lap off the pace. Everybody now chasing St. Louis, Missouri's Connor Cordes. He is the first car 1 lap down, trying to unlap himself from Brandon Bowers. He's been leading this race for quite some time. 7.5 seconds between him and Tim Moore over the last 5 laps. There you can see Moore no longer slower than Bowers. Have a look at these two drivers when they cross the line. Lap 81, Timmy Moore. Will he be quicker? 1/10 of a second, the difference between them. So the gap stays right around the same. There's Tim Moore. He's on the inside of the 83 car. Mike McElroy last pitted on lap 68. Parker Malone has decided it's his turn to come into the pits, and the 36 has made his decision. We'll see if he comes out with the same fervor that he went into. He's got to be a bit more calm to make sure that car stays in one piece. Minute Jr. out on the racetrack again. Malone also out on the racetrack. Tim Moore with an 0.8 of a second gap back to Drew Jua. And between Moore and Jua, there you can see last time around, Drew was 0.2 of a second faster than Tim Moore. We're quickly approaching 50 laps to go in this race. Ross Phillips now on the inside of Chris Pinder. This could be important as these pit stops cycle through. Max Williams, now the first car, 1 lap off the pace. He is the lucky dog as he runs in that YJ Esports Chevrolet. Lucky number 13, Williams, finds himself 3 seconds away from Derek Sherman in 8th, and he finds himself 4 seconds ahead of this driver here, Mike McElroy. The lone Canadian in tonight's race, Chris Pinder, from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Up 9 places from where he started. Second only in positions gained to this driver here, Travis DeLeon in the number 15 Pinder Construction Toyota. Travis, reigning from the great state of Ohio, producing more astronauts than any other state. Good for Ohio. Mac moves into the 10th position, but he's got Ross Phillips all over his back end. As the tires start to wear more and more, drivers must take care of their equipment. Still more than 45 laps to go in this race, and with money on the line, they need to be careful or risk losing everything. DeLeon decides he wants to come in. Connor Cordes elevates himself up to the 6th position. Matt Heel, Connor Cordes, and Derek Sherman now all where they started this race in 5th, 6th, and 7th, respectively. Tim Moore has only a 1.5 second gap back to Drew Jua. He's been gaining now, but the gap up to Bowers still 9 seconds. But over those last 5 laps, there you can see Bowers using some of those tires to get faster and faster. One driver who just ran his personal best, you guessed it, Parker Malone, 33.24 seconds. His personal best compared to race leader Brandon Bowers, who just went 35.15 seconds. Timmy Moore, 35 seconds flat. New tires for Parker Malone, making him 1.5 seconds or more faster than the race leaders. Malone has to use this to his advantage, and this may very well be the last stop of Malone's night. If it goes green, Malone has more than enough fuel to go to, well, I won't say fuel. Let me rephrase. Malone may not have to come down. He did come down on lap 81. That would mean a 54-lap run to the finish if Malone intends on going the distance. But if a caution comes out, that could be the saving grace for Parker. We'll have to see as the laps continue to tick on by. Derek Sherman rejoins the racing surface. Mike McElroy sits ahead of Ross Phillips by 1/10 of a second. 89 laps about to be completed from Homestead-Miami. Larry Hensley Jr. going around the outside of Chris Pinder. Hensley now up into the 10th position. In the 13, Max Williams remains the first car, 1 lap off the pace, but right behind him, as Repeat would call it, look at the hornet's nest behind them. The 83 of McElroy, the 1 of Phillips right behind him. The 15 car to the inside of the 83. Can he make it stick? Here's Derek Sherman in the 2. Doesn't want to get caught up in any of this. Ross Phillips will lose out on the exchange. A couple of cars getting past him. Chris Pinder decides he wants to come down pit road. Sherman has to really check up hard to avoid contact with the 83. Travis DeLeon in the 15th position. He's gained 7 places now that he's got fresh tires. Up ahead, Max Williams has Mike McElroy behind him. This the fight for the lucky dog position. Williams going way too high out of turn number 4. He'll make contact and scrape his 13 Chevrolet on the wall. The number 8-3 of Mike McElroy moves to the inside, trying to get any sort of advantage on the 13, and it looks like he will. Max Williams, no longer the first car, 1 lap down. The lucky dog position, it now goes to the 8-3 of Mike McElroy. Tim Moore losing the advantage on those fresh tires. Drew Jua behind him by 0.7 of a second. Max Williams sits in that 8th position, still not having fallen off the pace to Mike McElroy. Derek Sherman trying to hunt down Travis DeLeon, that for the 13th position. Fillers on his way out of pit road. Jua has decided he's going to come in. Drivers making what is very likely their final pit stop. Last time around, race leader Brandon Bowers, 34.96 seconds. Parker Malone, 33.50. 1.5 seconds from Parker Malone to Brandon Bowers every single lap. But Bowers, the further he goes on this stint, the harder he can drive on fresh tires. It's going to come down to lap times versus track position. The 2 car of Derek Sherman moves to the inside of TD. Travis DeLeon loses the 13th position to the Monster Energy Chevrolet. Hensley Jr. in his Good Wrench Camaro has Parker Malone coming all up behind him. Malone with tough work to do, getting around that 3, trying to sneak around the 74. Right up the middle of the racetrack, John Daly now cedes the inside line. Car 36, Parker Malone up 12 places since he started this race and climbing fast. Ryan Lindemann, 0.2 of a second behind Sherman in that number 2. Derek Sherman up to 12th. 40 laps remain in this race. Brandon Bowers leads Tim Moore by 10 seconds. Almost a third of a lap. Matt Heel has decided he's going to make his final pit stop tonight. $100 on the line for our race winner. Plenty of prizes down the running order all the way through the top 5 as well. Bowers is in. Race leader is in. Tim Moore, 10.5 seconds behind. All eyes on him as Moore last pitted on lap 55. How far does he dare stretch the tires? Moore gambling on a late race caution, pitting this late in the race. Moore trying to win those $100 and keep it to himself. Connor Cordes in the 2nd place position. That pays out $40. Brandon Bowers in 3rd for now, as Parker Malone now overtakes the previous race leader. A reminder, drivers get 4 maximum tire changes in this race. Ryan Terrian, the defending champion, not able to join us tonight. 2 green-white checkered attempts if the drivers decide they want to race a little more than 202 miles. Larry Hensley Jr. only a half second behind McElroy. Only 5 laps of wear between these 2 drivers, but McElroy really pushing it. John Daly sneaking to the inside. Not sure what's gone on with that 74. He sits in that 13th position. Chris Pinder, 1.5 seconds behind him. Daly, 1 lap off the mark, going way high out of turn number 4, having to check up hard. Chris Pinder will take advantage and set up the pass out of turn number 2. The 51 of Matt Heel in the current lucky dog position. He's 6 seconds ahead of Derek Sherman. So Heel in a pretty safe place if the yellow flag comes out. Fillers in the 94, now trying to take down Drew Jua, but there's 2 seconds behind those 2. Mike McElroy now up the middle line. Jua in the Cessna Camry coming up the inside of that 83 car, and Drew now moves into the 5th position. Mac sitting a quarter of a second ahead of Hensley Jr. Let's go on board with the number 3 Goodwrench Chevrolet. Two by two, 2 rows deep out of the first corner, single file out of the second corner, headed into 3 and 4. All of these cars in precarious positions, lined up so close nose to tail. The 17 of Pinder chooses the low line out of turn number 4. Chris Pinder will finish his 99th lap of competition in the 13th position. Connor Cordes leading lap 101 and starting 102 as the race leader. Bowers in that second position, 7 1/2 seconds off the pace. 27 laps of wear between Cordes and Bowers. Ozman in the chat says, fantastic stream, great commentary. Appreciate you, Oz. Glad you're here, buddy. Hope you're having a good time. With fewer than 30 laps remaining. No, more than 30 laps remaining. I can't do math. The number 3 car comes down for service. Larry Hensley Jr. will give up 7th. Matt Heel will get around him and become the 2nd highest Toyota in the running order. Drew Jua now has that honor. Drivers spread out as the pit stop cycle comes to a close. Connor Cordes last pitted on lap 69. He still has just one more pit stop to make unless he wants to stretch his mileage and see what he can do. John Dolly with big damage on that number 74 Hy-Vee Chevrolet. He says, mention my boys over at Hy-Vee. They do awesome work and look awesome on this car. I hate to break it to him, but awesome is not the word that I would use for that Hy-Vee machine. Let's see what happened to, well, it was awesome before the damage, but now with sparks flying off of it, not so much. Let's see what happened to the 74 on lap 101. Oh, this is well before all of this. Is he leaving the pits with this damage? No, something went on with the 74. Keep your eye there. This is a few laps earlier, so just something went on with Dolly, and not sure. Yeah, there he is, just scraping the inside wall there. Have another look. I'm not sure exactly what happened. He must have slammed the wall coming low out of turn number 4, but Dolly will slowly come down into the pits while race leader Brandon Bowers sees his advantage dwindle. Less than 6 seconds between him and Parker Malone. Last time around on lap 106, Parker Malone puts in 34.85 seconds. Bowers 33.75. 0.2 of a second. The gap on lap 106, I'm sorry. We're coming up to lap 108. Bowers and Jua 6 seconds apart. Malone 0.8 of a second off of Drew Jua. Malone currently 1 and some change seconds quicker than Brandon Bowers, and it's going to come down to a grandstand finish between them. Malone, easily the most consistently fast car throughout the entire race. Last pitting on lap 81. Brandon Bowers pitting 15 laps after him. Is Bowers just saving his stuff for the very end? Will Malone be able to close that gap quick enough, or will the tires and fuel last that distance? What about Tim Moore? He last pitted on lap 100. Some of the youngest tires in this race. The Leaf Filter Camaro looking to do some damage late in this run. He's going to drive these last 35 laps as fast as he can. Connor Cordes coming up behind Travis De Leon. This for the 9th position. Cordes gets right to the bumper of the 15. Looks like no wiggle out of the 15. The 15 just checks up high. Let's have one more look with the 8. Oh, possibly did give him the chrome horn coming out of turn number 4. No harm, no foul, the 15. Clearly just not as quick as that 8 car, but De Leon giving him his best effort, up 12 places from where he started. He's our 2nd hardest charger of this race. Hats off to the number 15 Pinder Construction Camry. Donald Minute Jr. has crashed. We stay green with 25 laps to go. The incorrectly numbered number 12 Menards machine motionless on the inside. Bowers leading this race. Minute Jr. slowly crawling away from this one, trying to get his car going, but just not a lot of life coming from that Menards machine. Have a look. Slow and struggling to keep that car in one piece, and he just sends it hard off of that second corner. Let's have another look on board the 12. Not sure what in the world happened here with Minute. See if we can have another look. Minute just comes off that apron, still not moving, and I don't know if he's attempting to bring out a caution, but Minute just going by himself. Ozman asking, where's the caution? Some leagues don't give out a caution for one-car incidents, or if it doesn't interrupt the flow of the race, as Minute's crash doesn't interrupt the flow of the race. There won't be a caution. Matt Tatum jumps to the pits after he crashes. Let's see what happened to the 35 machine. Just slow. He decides he's going to jump to the pits rather than just hobble around while Donald Minute Jr. still motionless. He'll finally jump to the pits as the car goes nowhere. Brandon Bowers, 8 seconds ahead of Drew Jua. Parker Malone. Something has gone on with that 36 car. Fillers passing Parker Malone on lap 109. Has the magic finally gone? No, Malone gets into the wall. Something went wrong on that 36, and it's a slide backwards now for him. Only 30 laps into this run. This is unlike Malone. He could be trying to save his tires for the very end. Tim Moore started in 4th. He's up to 4th. He pitted on lap 100, and he's giving it everything he's got with 20 laps to go. This last time around, Tim Moore proves himself to be 2/10 quicker than Brandon Bowers in that double 7. They pitted right around the same time within 4 laps of each other. And a late race caution could change absolutely everything. It's 2-0 to go, and next time by, it'll be 1-9 at the line, $100 on that line for Bowers, Jua, Fillers, anybody else that wants to get a piece of the lead. Moore's in 4th, Matt Gila's in 5th, Parker Malone on the way back through the field. Something gone extremely wrong in that 36. Possible damage from scraping the wall earlier, but Malone having a rough time just trying to survive, and he's going to have to depend on that late race caution to get him back through the field. But with 19 laps to go, will the long run expert find himself put in a corner with a very short amount of laps left? Nine seconds between Bowers and Jua. 9.6 to be exact. Jimmy Fillers 4 seconds behind Drew in that 18 machine. And over those last 5 laps, Jua has been consistently quicker than fillers. The gap between Jua and race leader Brandon Bowers has been dwindling over those last 9 laps. And at this pace, Bowers will be just far enough ahead of Jua, although Bowers did pit 4 laps after Drew Jua. 4/10 is just not enough consistently to catch Bowers by the end of that race. But again, everything changes if that yellow rag flies through the air. Tim Moore, 1.2 seconds off of James Fillers and trying to catch up even quicker. The 94 machine will give way to the 3. Larry Hensley Jr. sits in the 10th position, 1 lap down. Connor Cordes is your lucky dog for the moment. The number 8 machine in that 7th position, the first car 1 lap off the leader's pace, but there is the race leader, Brandon Bowers, just ahead of him. Cordes pitting on lap 105. He will quickly unlap himself. Bowers, we assume, will give way in quite an easy fashion. My mistake. I earlier said Connor Cordes was from St. Louis. He is from that other big Missouri city, Kansas City. Trey followed just a few seconds ago. Expert following a few seconds ago. Appreciate you, folks. Welcome to Rick James TV. Hope you've had a great race so far. And if you've recently tuned in, we're coming to 14 laps to go. Bowers leading this race. He is the winningest driver in ENEA, and he's looking to get just one more W under his belt. $100 goes to tonight's race winner, 40 for second place. Coming to lucky number 13, laps to go. Bowers with a 10.5-second lead over Drew Jua. Trey says, let's go, P. Sherman. We're talking about Derek Sherman in that number 2 machine. He's 8 seconds behind Connor Cordes, 6 seconds ahead of Travis DeLeon. Connor Cordes hoping that a caution comes out. He's back on the lead lap. Both Cordes and Sherman would benefit, as Sherman is now the lucky dog after Connor Cordes has unlapped himself. Sherman high out of that 4th corner.
Yellow flag is out.
Caution is out. Caution is out. We've had some incident, not sure what went on, but caution is out for the 2nd time tonight. And there is the great equalizer. Ross Phillips just ran his personal best, 33.3 seconds. Can't find any damaged cars out on the racetrack, so I'm not sure who's been involved. Brandon Richards still in the pits. No damage on Matt Tatum. No damage on Ross Phillips. Ryan Lindemann in the 57 undamaged. The erroneously numbered Ryan Pannone undamaged. So I'm not sure what exactly went on, but the yellow flag flies with 12 laps remaining. We're going to get a restart inside the final 10 laps. Brandon Bowers, Drew Jua, Timmy Moore, all the way down to 7th place, Connor Cordes, and soon to be 8th place, Derek Sherman, will all be on the lead lap for a shootout inside the final 10 laps. Fans, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a 90-second break, and we'll be back for what may be the final restart in this ENEA exhibition. Don't go anywhere. Back with you from iRacing's Homestead-Miami Speedway. Kansas City's Connor Cordes sits in that 7th position. Connie, Rick James up top. You got me?
Got you, Rick.
Caution coming out for the second time tonight. Connie, we're going to restart with 8 laps remaining. What brought out this second caution of the evening?
We just threw a little, just a little thing in here, just because there wasn't going to be much that changed, if any. So the top 5 that were running already there are going to take the money home. But since we have our beloved Rick James on the broadcast, we wanted to end this race on a high note and make it interesting. So we're just going to run it out here and have a fun ending and see what happens.
It is an exhibition after all. Why not see what we can do? So we're going to have 8 cars on the lead lap. We can't get any word from Brandon Bowers or Timmy Moore, but we're interested on what they think. What do you think about this restart? What's going to be the strategy? All of these top 7, all of the top 8 on fresh tires. Got to throw Sherman in that mix.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. As you can see, this whole race has been figuring out long runs and saving tires. So now that we kind of threw that out the window here, this will be pretty intense.
Shiny side up, buddy. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it in the off-season exhibition. We're going to throw a fun flag, as it were, and we're going to get going for one great 8-lap shootout. Brandon Bowers and Timmy Moore have control of the field as the pace truck peels off. Hold on and get ready for this. 8 to go from South Florida. Green flag is out. Three and 4 wide in the middle of the pack. Brandon Bowers out to a 1-second lead. Drew Jua behind him. Here comes Parker Malone. Top side with fresh tires in the 7th position. Has he been saving everything for this moment here? Malone on the top side almost lost his car out of turn number 2 several laps ago, but he is here for that money. Malone up to 6th. Timmy Moore in 3rd with Jimmy Fillers behind him. Drew Jua sitting in 2nd, hunting down Bowers, the gap half a second at the top. Drivers trying to avoid that wall. 5 laps remain next time by. Drew Jua just went purple. 33.1 seconds on the board, and Bowers running his personal best. Out of turn number 2, everybody 2 and 3 wide, trying to find some sort of semblance of stability. John Dolly, with no stability at all, crunches that Hy-Vee machine to the inside wall, says hi to the fans in the camping area, and he's certainly ending this one with a bang. 5 to go. Jua goes purple again. Matt Heel, Derek Sherman, Travis DeLeon, all running personal bests. 33.05 seconds, and the gap remains still half a second. But Jua is turning up that heat. Matt Heel, 33.13. He's gone green and he's all over the back end of Timmy Moore. Out of turn number 4, it's 4 laps to go. One car getting really loose off the corner. Not Derek Sherman. Was that Hensley? Didn't see who that was. Might have been McElroy, but somebody with the save of the century out of that 4th corner. Brandon Bowers just went green, 33.04. Jimmy Fillers beat him and went purple, 33.03 seconds at the line. It will be 3 circuits left around Homestead-Miami. $100 on the line for the race winner, and Jua may have just thrown that Benjamin out the right side window, colliding with the safer barrier out of turn number 4. I think he just sent it a little bit too hard. Matt Heel now on the inside of Timmy Moore out of that 2nd corner. Here comes Connor Cordes trying to find some room top side. Nothing doing. 3 wide down the back straight, in the Busch Light Chevrolet goes to the inside of Moore in the 31. Heel. Top side sits ahead of Parker. Malone now going to the white line. Malone showering sparks on his competitors behind him. Top side at a turn number 4. Here comes the 13 car of Max Williams, who scrapes his right side with a heavy slam on that safer barrier. Fewer than 3 miles remains in this race. Will we go caution free to the end? 13 sits ahead of the 83 Mike McElroy. Ross Phillips ahead of Travis DeLeon, who went green on this previous lap. Still more than 1 lap of racing remains. Brandon Bowers with a 9/10 of a second lead over Drew Jua. James Fillers 7/10 behind him. And here is the party, starting with Tim Moore going all the way back to Matt Heel and company. White flag is in the air. Mike McElroy in the 83 on the outside of Max Williams. Parker Malone giving it one last ditch effort for the top 5. Conman Cordes on the bumper of the 51 of Matt Heel. Everybody going to send it in one last time. Brandon Bowers with a 9/10 of a second lead. Drew Jua in second. Jimmy Fillers in third off of turn number 4. It's going to be Brandon Bowers winning $100 at Homestead. Jua in second. Fillers with the bronze. Brandon Bowers with the race win in the double 7. Drew Jua coming home in second, and James Fillers sitting in the 3rd position. Brilliant drive for the double 7 of Bowers. He collects that money. He will win at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. $100 is his. And you can say he's earned it. How about that for an off-season victory? Bowers will burn the house down. And have his celebration ruined. We're going to have the podium in just a moment. On the podium with our top 3. Let's start with our 3rd place finisher, James Fillers in that 94. James, a long race, but you managed to come home with a bronze medal and $20 for your efforts.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun there. I really didn't feel like I had a car capable of beating Brandon or Drew or Tim, but we didn't take fuel on that last restart, and I was scooting there. I thought I would have caught up to Drew whenever he popped the wall there, but that was really fun.
I'm glad you had a good time, man, and the upcoming season of ENEA looks like an absolute riot, man. Congratulations on your prize money, and good luck this season. Tonight's silver medalist, the number 18 Beechcraft Camry, Drew Jua. You really flew all around this racetrack, and you end up with a little bit of money for your efforts too, man. How was your race tonight?
Yeah, it was good. Started off really bad. I mean, I don't really know what happened on that restart, but with this restart zone new rule that's on iRacing. It's kind of tough to get back into it after not doing it for such a long time. Ended up jumping the restart, and well, I didn't even jump the restart, but ended up having to get a black flag and going down pit road, went a lap down. Luckily, we got a caution pretty early, but I never really got the track position back before we had that really, really long green flag run, and I was always on the backhand. I didn't have the pace Brandon did. He was by by far the best all night. I felt like I could save my tires well, and then still lose time to him. And then if I pushed really hard, I could be almost as fast as him, but my tires would have been shredded for them to run. But all in all, it was a really, really fun race. Good to come back to Homestead and learn what we were missing there with the new update. And it's nice to finish second. Just wish Brandon wasn't so good, and maybe I could end up passing him for once, but all in all, a lot of fun.
Second place, not bad at all. Congratulations on that, and as well, good luck to you in this upcoming season. Our race winner in the Double 7, winner of $100 and the ENEA exhibition at Homestead-Miami Speedway, Brandon Bowers, with clever pit strategy all the way up until that final flag. So you're definitely able to flex your pit strategy muscle, and even on that last 9-lap run that we threw there for fun, you just ran away from the field. Shades of Jamie McMurray in the All-Star race, man. Did you have fun tonight?
Oh man, I had a ton of fun. I like these tracks where the tires wear out and you can really like save and it pays off. But that last 10 lap run, I was just pushing for all she was worth, and she worked out.
It worked out to a cool, crisp C note in your pocket. What are your thoughts for this upcoming season? Is there a championship in your future?
I mean, I hope, man, but nothing's ever guaranteed in this league. These guys are really fast, and they're really hard to beat, man. I mean, these guys are way faster than what their iRating says, and they're really good guys to race around. That's about all I got to say.
There you see on the bottom of your screen. Let's make those a little more apparent, shall we? At ENEA Racing and ENEARacing.com is where you can catch all of the upcoming season's highlights and action as well. Congratulations to you, Brandon. Good luck for this upcoming season.
All right, thank you, man.
Fans at home, that puts quite an interesting race in the books. Next Monday, normal service resumes on Rick James TV with the start of the American Elite Racing Trucks Series playoffs from Bristol. Who doesn't love trucks at Bristol? Be sure to tune in. This Thursday, TNT has the week off, but we come back a week from this Thursday with a special throwback giveaway and even a throwback diecast for our winning driver. So stay tuned for that. For Connor Cordes, everybody at ENEA, it's been such a privilege to come back to my old stomping grounds to catch such an awesome exhibition. Check these guys out on Twitter at ENEA Racing, ENEARacing.com. Do yourself a favor and enjoy some great sim racing this season. And until that next race, everybody, please stay safe. Do take care of each other, and we will see you all around the corner.